local trucker, aka your motivator on Monday, aka your trucking buddy. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm tired. I just made like 3 videos. I'm trying to get my energy up. Let's just start off like this. Welcome to your Monday motivation. My name is Tim. I am a local carrier here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I am a southeastern regional carrier, but mostly, you know, I just haul loads in and out of Georgia. I'm home almost every night, and today's your Monday motivation for all my truckers and warehouse workers, forklift operators, logistic coordinators, whatever. Anybody got anything to do with the trucking industry, I'm your guy. We're gonna learn together and we're gonna talk about this together. Now they're just starting to load my truck, so I'm gonna be a little shaky, okay, during this video. We're gonna make it quick. I'm gonna get me something to drink. 1 second. I just remembered that I have some green tea, and maybe that'll, you know, help my mood out a little bit. But I'm gonna talk to y'all about how trucking helped me buy a house. And not just me, my wife, my kids, and yes, the wife did help, because we can't do nothing by myself. Shout out to the wife. Love you, baby. We're gonna talk about this right now. So how did trucking help me buy my first house? I'm gonna tell you how as soon as I take a sip of this right here. Hold on. All right, so this is how trucking bought me my first house. I worked at an LTL company at the time. It was about we bought a house in 2012, November 2012, okay? But the road and destination to getting that house started, okay, I'm lying. We bought the house in 2013. November 2013 is when we closed on the house. But the road to purchasing the house started in August 2012, okay? August of 2012 is when I married my wife. That was number one. We're gonna buy it. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna get married, and we're gonna, you know, we're gonna be partners, and we're gonna go after this house goal, because it was our goal to buy a house, okay? My wife had already been through the process of purchasing the house before, you know, I had met her, so she already knew the ropes. She knew what to expect. And you know me, I'm a worker, okay? I'm just, you know, hey, let's get it. At the time I was so, you know, and I'm still just as hungry as I was before, but I was hungry. I was getting all the hours at work. And if you want to know how you are gonna buy a house in trucking, man, you gotta get it, okay? You gotta volunteer for work. You gotta come to work early. Step number 1 to getting the truck, buying a house in trucking. Step number 1, come to work an hour to 2 hours early, especially when there's a possibility that there is work, okay? I ain't talking about show up to work 30 minutes early. I ain't talking about come to work, you know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes early. No, when you have a goal of purchasing a house, especially your first house, I mean, whether it's your second house or not, but when you have a goal in trucking and you're an hourly worker, okay, or maybe even if you get paid by the load, get to work an hour to 2 hours early when you know that there's going to be possible work there, okay? Somebody could have called in. Somebody could have, could be some extra work just laying around. Could be some customers calling in, hey, we need a trailer right now. You know, whatever it is. Now, I specifically worked in the LTL business, less than truckload business, and, you know, we were local truckers, okay, and I was getting about $21, $22 an hour at the time. I think I was started off at 19 once I first got my license. But step number 1, come to work early. Let them know, hey, I'm here. You know, there's a possibility that you might have to go, they might say no, and you might have to go sit in your car for a couple hours. Hey, get a nap, whatever, you know. But when I showed up early to work, guess what? There was always a load for me to get or a trailer for me to unload, okay? Step number 2, stay late. stay late. If they gonna let you ride that clock, and I ain't talking about milk it. I ain't talking about milking the clock, you know, that old milk it gesture. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about if they got work for you to do and you have a goal, man, you gotta get it. And at the time I was not getting paid time and a half. This was straight time I was getting. So if I worked 50 hours, I was only getting 50, you know, I was only getting 50 hours. It wasn't no time and a half, okay? This tea's working. I'm gonna take another sip of this tea real quick. Okay. So, stay late. That's step number 2. Stay late. Oh my goodness, stay late. They always need help, and there's always extra work when you're working for a mega carrier, specifically in the LTL business. There's always work to do. You know it is. And where I worked at, it don't matter if you was driving a truck or a forklift, you got paid the same money. So if I got to work at 10 a.m. and I was only supposed to be there at 12, I might load a truck. I might, you know, break down some pups in the yard. I might, you know, might drop off an empty trailer to a customer or something like that. I would show up and ask for work. And I did that so much that they started calling me like, hey, Tim, can you come to work at 9 a.m.? Yep. I lived, what, maybe 15 minutes from my job. It was nothing for me to show up to work early. And again, I had my wife helping me out, okay? She was at home watching the baby. She you know, had her online business that, you know, brought in some income. But the trucking is what really paid the bills. And I like to let my wife, you know, the money she made, I let her keep that. You know what I mean? And the money she makes today, I let her keep that. I take care of the home, but that's just me and my preference. Anywho, so step 2 was stay late. Stay late, guys. There were always stuff for me to do, whether it was unload trailers that, you know, guys was coming in off their route. If I got off of my route, I may have ran like the Chamblee, Georgia area, the Alpharetta, Georgia area, whatever I did for that day, and I would deliver my loads, and then I would fill that same truck up after it was empty with pickups in the same areas, and I'll bring that load back, and I would volunteer to unload my load. Hey, y'all need help on the dock? Sign me up. Before you know it, I'm making 12, 14 hours. You know, it wasn't time and a half, but it was good money. You know, each year in the LTL business, I made more money. It was one year where I broke it even, and I was in it. I was at this particular company from, I was a driver from 2010 to 2015, and every year except one year, I made the same. I made more money. I think one year I made 60,000. 2 years straight, I think I made 60,000. Okay, but one of those years is when I bought my house, and that was 2013. Is when we bought the house, and it worked out because we actually got a grant to get our house, and the grant stated that you couldn't make over 60,000 a year, and I just made like 59 or something like that year, and I was upset. I was like, man, I was supposed to make 50. I was supposed to make 60 this year, or 61, because the previous year I think I had hit 60. You know, 2011, 2012 I hit, or 2011, I'm getting my dates mixed up, I hit 60 or whatever. And I wanted to make, you know, I wanted to hit that again. I wanted to hit that goal again. But we got a grant that helped us out with our, it was a first time home buyers grant. It's called the NSP program. It's in every state. Look up NSP, Neighborhood Stabilization Program, where they take foreclosed houses and they sell them. They fix them up and they give them to, not give them, but they sell them to first-time home buyers. So we qualified for that. But last step, step number 3. First step was show up to work early. Okay. Second step was stay late, volunteer to stay late. And the third step is weekend work. Weekend work. I repeat, weekend work, okay? Man, you gotta grind it out, y'all. I worked probably every weekend for a year straight. and it was all me getting, putting myself in position to find to do this. They wasn't just handing this stuff out to everybody. And the weeks they were, I was their go-to guy. Now, in the LTL business, a lot of times, and I speak so much about LTL because that's the industry I came up in, you know what I mean? But a lot of times these companies will, might put something on the break room door. Need 5 drivers this weekend for line haul runs, whether it's Nashville, Birmingham, whatever, the closest cities by that they need loads ran to. And there was weekends where they wouldn't post those notes on the break room. So I started inquiring with this dispatchers, like, hey man, I want to work this weekend. And it was one weekend I saw one of my buddies, Bruce, I think it was a Monday I seen him. I was like, Bruce, man, I'm trying to get some of that weekend work. He's like, oh yeah, I worked this weekend. I worked this past weekend. I'm like, how you do that? He's like, oh man, I got the phone number to the dispatcher, the weekend dispatch. I'm like, well man, let me get one of those phone numbers. And he was like, well, those phone numbers that they post on the break room wall, it's the same people. Just call them on Friday nights. So that's what I started doing. They were called Central Dispatch. I started calling those guys Friday nights. If I couldn't get a load from my dispatchers, I would call Central Dispatch, and I would like, hey, my name's Tim. I'm out of North Atlanta. I'm available to work this weekend. Y'all got any loads? They saved my numbers, and they were calling me. You know what I mean? Some weekends they were, some Friday nights they were calling, texting me like, hey, are you able to go to Jacksonville this weekend? Yes. And at the time our e-logs were just now, I think they were just phasing it in, but for the most part it wasn't really e-logs. But guess what? Even after the e-logs, I would work I would work it out to where I still had time to do a run on the weekends. And that's exactly what I did. So if you want to buy a house in this trucking industry, if you are in the LTL business, or you are in the logistics, like you might have a distribution center that you're a truck driver for, and if they got weekend work, they got night work, they got morning work, a lot of times these places don't shut down. Use your hours wisely, bust your butt, volunteer, show up early. Okay, that was key. All right, so remember these things. Show up early, ask for work. Stay late, ask for work. Friday nights come around, Thursdays, start asking for weekend work. Hey, y'all got any loads that you need ran over the weekend, please? I ain't too proud to beg. I got a baby to feed. I'm trying to get a house, and it felt so good. It felt so good signing the papers to that house. I think I got married at 20. Well, I got my license at 24. And 2012 we got married at 26, and 27 is when I bought the house. So we're done here. I gotta go. Good talking to y'all. This is your Monday motivation. Have a great day.